let's continue looking at lipids. In particularly, let's look at waxes and triacylglycerols. So let's first take a look at a wax, because waxes are fundamentally the root or a simplistic form of a triglyceride. Okay, so to be a wax, first, waxes are esters. Okay, they are esters, and remember that esters have the appearance of R, okay, and then they have the C double bonded O, the carbonyl, and the additional O. So there's the ester, okay, and on this side the R is derived from an alcohol, and from here the R is derived from fatty acid, so a carboxylic acid, okay, is what we're looking at. If we take this R and this, we're looking at a carboxylic acid, okay, and then the carboxylic acid, the H, remove the R, comes in from the alcohol, okay, so we get that ester. Now for waxes, we want each, the fatty acid and the alcohol, to be 14 to 30 carbons in length, okay, so we're talking about each R. So combined here, let's say we had 30 from the fatty acid and 30 from the alcohol, we're looking at 60, 61 carbons. Combined here, the range, we're looking at 30 to 60 carbons total between each one of these R's contributing to the wax, to the ester. Okay, so we have a fatty acid chain, so we have a long carbon chain here. We have the alcohol portion here, which from the alcohol portion we're getting a carbon chain as well. And then we have that ester group in the middle, which is that carbonyl with single bonded oxygen as well. Okay? Some common places you see wax, I mean, we can think of like car wax, like turtle wax you use on your car. We can think of beeswax in products like Burt's Bees, honeycomb, lip balm. You can think of like furniture wax and furniture polishes, or think of candle wax. Okay, there's lots of waxes, so to say, out there in our everyday lives. But a wax is merely an ester, fatty acid on one side, alcohol on the other side, that ester there in the middle. Now, if we take that foundation and we expand to look at what we call triacylglycerols, okay, or triglycerides. A lot of times these are just referred to as triglycerides. Triglycerides are triesters, and again, remember, ester, got the R, C double bonded O, this, okay, we've got that. So we've got triesters, so we have 3 esters put together, and it's derived from the glycerol, which is a trihydroxy alcohol, and fatty acids. Okay, so let me show you a little scheme of it here. So here we have a glycerol, okay, and glycerol is merely this portion here with the CH2s. So this is our glycerol portion, and glycerol is an alcohol, so originally, before it comes together here, it's CH2OH H, CH2OH, CH2OH. So there's the alcohol with 3 fatty acids. That's where the triester comes from. And see, when they merge together, these are your fatty acid chains right here. Okay, your fatty acid chains. Those may be the same or they may be different. So these 3 fatty acid chains, they may all be 14 carbons, or maybe one of them's 14 carbons, one of them is 16 carbons, one of them's 18 carbons, or maybe 2 or 16 carbons and the other is 18 carbons. Okay. These 3 fatty acids that hook on, they do not have to be identical. Okay. We will get different properties, different outcomes based on that identity. Okay, those 3 fatty acid chains. Now, triglycerides are important if you've ever done biometric health screenings. They measure your triglycerides, and they'll measure that because they're important as far as energy storage. We live here in Alaska, and we have polar bears, and we have grizzly bears and black bears. We've got lots of bears, and those bears hibernate. And well, during the winter, when they're hibernating, they have eaten a lot of food before they go into hibernation. Their body stores that fat, stores all that excess weight as these triglycerides, and then as they're hibernating, is slowly utilizing those energy reserves. Okay. Now, one thing about these triglycerides, we can differentiate them as fats versus oils. Okay. So, if this takes on a solid structure at room temperature, it's considered a fat. A lot of times those are from animal sources, what we would call animal fats. Okay. If it takes on a liquid at room temperature, we often reference these as oils, and these often come from plant and vegetable sources like olive, with the olive oils, or the sunflower, safflower. Okay, so fat versus oils in reference to these triglycerides or triacylglycerols. Okay, so remember, it is a triester. It is 3 esters attached, okay, using glycerol.